Peymon who?
Mottahedeh.
Peymon Mottahedeh. Who is he?
Never paid taxes in 30 years. Fought the U.S. tax court and won.
See, I believe our rights come from God, not from government. Hello, my truth and freedom-loving friends. I am Peymon Mottahedeh, the president of Freedom Law School, which I created in 1996, and for over 30 years, I have openly not filed and paid any income or payroll taxes, and I've taught other people like you to do the same and no longer be a slave but a free man or woman instead. In this presentation, I will share with you the facts, whether the filing a 1040 income tax confession trap form is a safe thing to do or not, and why. Because I know many of you have watched step 1 on our website that shows follow the law at freedomlawschool.org, that based upon U.S. government's official legal websites, not my opinion, but their own official legal websites, no law requires the people of the 50 states like you and me to file and pay any federal income taxes. You will also see in this presentation that the best thing you can do for you to be free is for you to stop filing income tax forms with the IRS. Why? Because when you sign the IRS Form 1040, Income Tax Confession Trap Form, you put the IRS noose around your neck. How? Well, you'll see that you state under oath that you owe the IRS money. And this is how you give the IRS the power to audit you, empty your bank account, steal your crypto, steal your property, and put you in prison. But still, people think this. Many of you still believe that filing an IRS 1040 income tax form is a safe way to avoid IRS audits and keep you out of prison. Well, that's a lie. I'll show it to you. You need to think again, and in this presentation, it's my job to help you think again. So the fact of the matter is, folks, you do put the rope around your own neck when you sign that 1040 income tax confession trap form and to give the lever to the IRS to pull and hang you with. So you need to know that you unwittingly increase your chances of going to prison for taxes when you sign under penalties of perjury that your 1040 form is true, correct, and complete. You will see in this presentation that the safest way to have the IRS leave you alone, and I know that's what you want, for the IRS to leave you alone. But the safest way to do that is what? Is for you not to file any 1040 income tax confession trap forms, okay? Now, let's go down and show you the form, okay? You see, when you sign an IRS Form 1040 income tax confession trap form, you state under oath that you owe the IRS money. You don't believe me? Well, look at this. Here's a 1040 form in front of you. You see where it says sign here on the big print? Did your tax attorney, CPA, accountant, TurboTax, or H&R Block ever tell you what is that little fine print next to it above your signature line? What does that say? What does it mean? They did not explain that to you, did they? Because I think if they did, you would have never signed that form in the first place. It says, under penalties of perjury, you declare that everything on this form and the attached paperwork and schedules that may be there is complete and true and correct in every single way. And if it is not true, correct, or complete, you will go to prison. Not the tax preparer. Yes, he kept the financial accounting records. He filled it out, but you go to prison. Okay? Isn't that crazy or what? And look at this. On line 37, you say, this is the amount that you owe. Yes, you say your amount that you owe under oath. So you must owe it. That's why IRS always pressures you, along with the corrupt major media and their henchmen, your tax attorney, CPA, accountant, who are ignorant of the law. They sell you down the road. What they do is help you put the rope around your neck and give it to the IRS to pull whenever they want to. So let's continue on this. Okay. The fact is, folks, when you file a 1040 income tax form or any federal tax form, you give up your right to your most private and sensitive information to the IRS. Okay? The IRS can then use these documents as evidence against you in a court of law, which can then force you to prove all expenses, deductions, and credits that you claim on your tax form. And if you cannot prove such expenses, deductions, and credits, you will end up paying a lot more money to the IRS, or even be sentenced to lengthy prison sentences. Yes. Here, folks, look at this. You see here, you risk being charged with 3 separate tax crimes for each 1040 tax form that you sign and file with the IRS. We're going to let your CPA tax attorney do it for you. Attempting to evade or defeat a tax or tax evasion for 5 years. And you can click on it, folks, on the law. Click on this. You see the law right there for yourself. You see, I'm not making this up. Okay? You can read all these laws for yourself. I'm not making any of this stuff up. Okay? You can go to prison in addition for filing of fraudulent and false statements. 3 years in the can. There's more. They could charge you in addition another year of prison for filing fraudulent return statements or other documents. So, in conclusion, you risk going to tax prison for up to 9 years for each year you file a 1040 or any other tax form with the IRS. So, if your accountant, CPA tax attorney made the same mistake for 5 years, 5 times 9, you can go to prison for 45 years for just 5 signatures on a document that he or your trusted CPA, tax attorney, tax professional prepared for you and made you believe that's a safe thing to do. Take the jab. Do as I tell you. I'm the doctor. I'm the tax expert. You know me. Don't listen to those crazy people that tell you don't file pay income tax, right? So let's continue on, folks. Now we're going to talk about crypto. Some of you have crypto. Yes, if you have crypto, folks, you have to answer on the front page of the form the crypto trap question about digital assets that ask you at any time during the year, did you in any way, sell any crypto or anybody gave you crypto? And you have to say yes or no. If you say yes to the crypto question, guess what? You should be nervous, like this cartoon character, because you put yourself on the IRS's audit list voluntarily. The IRS is hammering crypto tax return filers with audits because the IRS knows how expensive and difficult figuring out the cost basis of your crypto sales is. So the IRS can tax you on your entire gross crypto sales and transfers, hurting you big time in the pocketbook. Now, if you say no, lie, hey, it's none of their business, they should know about whatever I got on my crypto, I just won't tell them. Well, guess what? You should be nervous. Just like this guy in this cartoon, okay, who can go to prison because you just lied under oath. Penalties of perjury, which could land you in tax prison for 3 separate tax crimes you seen above, including tax evasion for up to 9 years for every 1040 form on which you lied about not having sold any cryptocurrency. The only way to avoid the trap is simply do not sign a 1040 form. That solves the problem. The only way to avoid this trap they got for you, you are done. Either yes or no, is to simply do not fill out their 1040 income tax form at all in the first place. You see, folks, you should know this. You give up your Fifth Amendment constitutional guaranteed right to be silent and not give any information to the government that they could use to put you in prison. That's right. The Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution says that no person shall be compelled or forced in any criminal case to be witness against himself, okay? And even any civil case situations, you give any information in like tax forms that would furnish a link in a chain of evidence or information that could be needed to prosecute you of a federal crime, like a federal tax crime, folks. So that's not my opinion. There's a Supreme Court in a case of Hoffman versus United States that said that, okay? Now, by contrast, if you do not file a 1040 income tax confession trap form, there is a far less chance, okay, of going to prison that you'll see in step 3, that the IRS may charge you with willful failure to file a tax return under Section 17303, which carries only a potential 1-year prison sentence, folks. And that's nothing. 1 year compared to 9 years. And the 1 year for non-filers, Freedom Law School makes that a 0, folks. That's right. We make a 0 out of that by following our petitions to Congress, which I'll show you later on, okay? So check this out, folks. This, you see this woman in front of you, U.S. tax court judge, Diane L. Krupa. She was charged with various tax crimes because she filed multiple 1040 income tax confession forms, believing that's the thing I do. I gotta pay my fair share and put the rope around my neck. Well, guess what? As a result, she was charged with multiple tax crimes, okay? Now, she knows more than your accountant, your CPA, your tax attorney about tax law. She's a judge of taxes. Yet, she did not even try to put up a defense and go to trial. Instead, she pled guilty to reduce her sentence to only 34 months. Because she was looking at going out of prison potentially for about 20 years. So 34 months is a good deal. Remember, filers face heavy, stiff prison sentences. So you want to do better than her? Don't file. Can your attorney do better than her? I don't think so, folks. And look at this right here. I'm not making this up. This is her case. Forbes magazine talking about Judge Krupa. His article came out April 2016. And here's the CBS News reporting on Judge Krupa in June of 2017. So none of this stuff is made up by me. These are facts, folks, okay? Let's now go to this guy you see in this picture named Joe Bannister. He was a former special agent with the IRS's Criminal Investigation Division, or CID, who became a student of Philip Law School in 1997 and published a book exposing IRS's deception on American people that do not owe the income tax at all. He said, it's a fraud. You've been deceiving us, the IRS. He quit the IRS in 1999 to expose IRS's scam on American people. And folks, his website is right here. agentfortruth.com. You can check out Mr. Joe Bannister, his credentials, his videos, everything, a lot more here if you want to, okay? Feel free to do so. And so here's what Joe Bannister told me when he quit the IRS. I remember back in 99, I said, Joe, please give me that statement. I'm going to put it on our website for American people to know. He said, quote, whenever at CID, we wanted to go after somebody to put him in prison, one of the first things that we did as a standard procedure was to request a copy of that person's previously filed tax returns so that we could use the information on those tax returns against them. Yeah. The information you gave to the IRS could someday on the tax returns could be used against you.
Oh no.
You gave it to him voluntarily. He said also, Mr. Bannister, however, when I wanted to talk to somebody about investigating him, and of course I would have to gather information from him about himself that I may use against him, I had to tell him that he had the right to remain silent and give me no information, even though I wanted to ask him questions. So what's the difference when you give the information to the IRS to a criminal investigation division agent like Joe Bannister orally, or give it in a written form on the 1040 form to the IRS? It's the same, and they use it against you. Okay? Now, let's continue, and you see that is why. The fact is, we got the IRS's data book that shows over 93% of the people the IRS puts in prisons are actually filers. That's right. It's a myth that if you don't file, you go to prison. It's a filers who the IRS and their accountants, CPA, tax attorneys have deceived to put the rope around their neck of the 1040 form and give it to the IRS. They're the ones that actually go to tax prison. So this chart shows the results of IRS's numbers from 2015 in the top right to 2021. Combined all tax prosecutions by CID. On the bottom part is non-filers. Non-filer was actually in a separate page. I kind of put it right here with the combined results for all prosecutions, filers and non-filers, so you can see and compare and contrast how many more people, a lot more, that put in prison that are filers versus a small amount of non-filers IRS put in prison, even though there's 80 million non-filers, according to IRS's best numbers. So you see in 2015 on the top right of the column, look at the highlighted areas unsentenced. 3,092 people circled went to tax prison. Sentence. On the bottom right, non-filers. Sentence was only 167. So you see, over 2,900 filers went to prison. Just almost all of them. Look at your 2018. Okay, in the middle. Sentence for all tax cases was 2,111. At the bottom center, non-filers, only 104 people. So over 2,000 filers were put in prison versus about 100 non-filers. Look at 2021 in the top left area, and on the circular part in the middle, 1,268 filers were sentenced to prison. At the bottom, only 88 non-filers were sent to prison. Again, almost 1,100 filers went to prison versus less than 100 non-filers. So folks, this is their own numbers, their own documents, okay? It was hidden in plain sight. And Freedom Law Schools is bringing it to you so you have confidence with knowledge and wisdom. Let's continue, folks. Again, remember, there's about 80 million non-filers I told you. In step 3, we covered that. The number of filers was about 168 million in 2023. So 1 out of 3 Americans doesn't file, 2 out of 3 does file. So it's far safer to not file than file. Another thing you should know, IRS is absolutely reliant on you to voluntarily agree to be a tax slave by filing a 1040 income tax confession form and admitting that you owe the IRS money. It's right here. These 2 former IRS commissioners, heads of the IRS, in this Bloomberg article, okay, they tell it to you as it really is. There's a quote from the most important part of the article. What's critical here is that substantially all of the revenue increase of the IRS does not come from IRS audits. Oh no. There's way too many Americans to audit them, even a small percentage of them. Substantially all the money comes from taxpayers who've been suckered when they file their tax returns. That's how they raise almost all the money that way. That's what they say, okay? So that's why there's a pressure by the corrupt major media and your accountant, CPA, tax attorney to get you to file, because that's how they make money for the corrupt deep state, okay? Now, here, this part is going to get a little bit longer because I'm going to cover, you see here, risks and benefits of filing IRS 1040 income tax confession form or not filing a 1040 income tax form, okay? It's going to take a little bit longer to go through this section, but I'll go through it for you because it'll be absolutely amazing what you'll see for yourself. Let's go to risks of filing 1040 tax forms in red, okay? You give up your right to be silent and not give any information to the government that they can use against you voluntarily. You sign under oath, penalty of perjury, same as if you are before a judge and a jury, that everything on the 1040 income tax confession form is true, correct, and complete. You cannot change your mind or appeal your confession that you owe the IRS money. It's cast in stone when you say it under oath. You beg the IRS to accept all your business expenses, deductions, credits, and other breaks that you claim on the 1040 income tax confession form. You also give them permission to audit you. Without a tax return, there's nothing to audit. There's nothing to check to make sure it's correct. You put the burden of proof on yourself to prove all of the expenses, deductions, credits, and other breaks that you claimed on your 1040 income tax confession form. You will have to hire an accountant, CPA, and/or tax attorney and pay them unknown amounts of large money, potentially, to try to keep the IRS from coming after you for more money and you ending up owing the IRS and IRS taking your stuff. You may lose audits, end up owing the IRS more tax penalties and interest. And you tell the IRS where your bank account is, your crypto, your investments, home, business, and properties all listed for the IRS to come and steal them if they want it, because you told them on your 1040 income tax confession form. But there's more. If the IRS decides to put you in prison, you will have to pay a lawyer hundreds of thousands of dollars or more to defend you, if he knows what he's doing at all. And he can't defend those 1040 forms anyways. It's very hard to do. And if the IRS tries to put you in prison and there's an error on your 1040 form, whether it is the fault of your accountant or tax preparer or tax attorney, you have to prove that the mistake was inadvertent and not an attempt by you to evade your fair share of taxes. Now, let's cover the risk of not filing 1040 income tax confession forms, okay? Folks, the risks are none when you join our Restore Freedom plan, okay? They come after very few non-filers, criminally or civilly, for money. And Freedom Law School will make it zero if you join our Restore Freedom plan. 100%. I'll come back to that later on, okay? Let's continue now to benefits of filing 1040 tax forms. I can't think of any. What benefit is it to you when you say under oath, oh, IRS, all your money. IRS, put the rope around my neck. I'm a slave. I don't want to do it, master. I hate being a slave. Under oath saying, master, I only owe you this much. And please, don't audit me, master. Go after some other slave who filed a 1040 tax form. Because I just do it because I believe I'm told by my tax lawyer, CPA accountant, I have to. It's a safe thing to do. I don't understand the Internal Revenue Code, the tax laws, and I want to do a safe thing. Please don't check out my expenses, credits, deductions, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm relying on TurboTax, HR block, the CPA, the tax attorney. I hope and pray they know what they're doing, because I'm just signing this piece of paper. I don't want to be a slave. Folks, that's what they deceived you into doing. Become a voluntary slave. Okay? Now, let's talk about benefits of not filing income tax form. This is going to be a long list. Be prepared, because there's great benefits when you don't file a 1040 income tax confession trap form, especially if you join our Restore Freedom plan voluntarily. If you choose, it's your choice. If the IRS ever comes after you with our Restore Freedom plan, Freedom Law School will prepare all the proper responses, hire any CPAs or attorneys that may be necessary to defend you, and guarantees, yes, we will guarantee that you will stay out of prison by following the law as written on the U.S. government's official legal websites, and quadruple checked with your congressman, with federal lawmakers, to make sure that you've done it right. If you end up losing a tax case and the IRS takes money from you, maybe we mess it up, Freedom Law School. Freedom Law School will reimburse you in full. You lose nothing. You have no risk. You have none of the risks of filing 1040 income tax confession trap forms, and your money and your hard work, instead of going to the fund, the corruption and criminality of the Washington, D.C. swamp gangsters, is going toward restoring freedom, peace, and prosperity for all Americans. It's actually pretty simple, okay? If that's what you want, it's a choice that you got to make. I cannot make that choice for you. You got to let your thinking to be done. Do not let the fear they programmed in your heart for years and decades to get you. Do not let your CPA tax attorney says, I know the law. Don't listen to these guys. Let him keep suckering you, make money off of you, putting the rope around your neck. It's at the end your choice to use the knowledge to be free or remain a slave, because all these years you've been a slave, you'll do it again and again and again because you're used to it. Now, let's continue on, okay? The Internal Revenue Code jungle is so complex that many CPAs and tax specialists disagree about what information should go on your 1040 income tax confession form. And by signing under penalty of perjury, you're the one that goes to prison for up to 9 years for each 1040 form that they make their mistakes on. The article, folks, is an old article from Money Magazine. I'm sure it's going to blow you away, okay? This was done like over 20 years ago, and multiple accountants, okay, were given the same scenario of this family's tax situation, and all these multiple accountants came up with different answers. How can it be? These are professionals. These are CPAs, certified public accountants. They all give you different tax amount you owe. What does that mean? That means maybe only at most, only one of them could be right. And the rest of them are all false and are setting you up to go to tax prison for up to 9 years for each signature that they had you put on that 1040 income tax confession trap form. Yep. So doing this thing, folks, is something that I cannot protect you. The fact of the matter is, in fact, all of these 1040 forms by the CPAs that Money Magazine had, they all could be wrong. None of them, maybe they all could be wrong. In fact, I remember Joe Bannister told me in the case he did one time. He was putting this guy in prison, this former IRS special agent. He said that the version of the guy's accountant sounded reasonable to me, and the IRS employee went on the stand and said, no, it should have been done this way. And the judge told the jury that the IRS employee had the right way and the accountant was wrong. That's right. The crooked judges can do that, and will probably do to the version your accountant or tax attorney told you to do. So there's no protecting yourself when you file these 1040 forms. So look at this, folks. This is the article from Money Magazine in 1988. It's a lot more complex now, okay? We're going to put this nicer looking version of this article on our website very soon, okay? So you can read it better, but this is what's on the archives out there, okay? So you have rights. You have power. The America's founding fathers wrote the U.S. Constitution to protect your rights and your freedoms, folks. At the end, folks, it's up to you to defend your rights and your freedom, okay? Don't give your power away or rights away to the IRS by filing 1040 income tax forms, okay? You have more power than you realize. In this presentation, at the bottom of this step 2, I'll go over all the rights to due process of law, to trial that you have, that you give up when you sign a 1040 form and admit under oath that you owe the IRS money, okay? The IRS is weak and you're powerful if you don't file, if you do not put the rope around your neck. So with that, folks, what you need to do after this is to go follow along to the other steps. Step 3 is about how IRS is a big myth to bluff you. I don't have the time to get into that, but study step 3. Every one of you can and should do the first 5 steps in our website, freedomlawschool.org, for free for yourself and family members, and no longer be a slave. Be free instead. Now, some of you will say, Peymon, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I would appreciate even more if someone like you, who knows this stuff, who has experience for decades being the IRS crooks, will be there behind me to back me up just in case they decide to come after me as a non-filer if I don't stop paying income tax. I will feel much safer and sleep a lot better at night knowing that you're behind me. So Okay, people, that is available for you if that is what you want. The trick for you is, folks, you need to have inside you the spirit of America's founding fathers and come together and contribute to our cause of restoring freedom in America like America's founding fathers did over 200 years ago. So our Restore Freedom Plan, I invite you to join. This is for modern day founding fathers of America. And with that, the privilege of 100% guarantee is available for all of you. You could enjoy our 100% guarantee when you legally stop filing and paying income taxes, as long as you are a member of our Restore Freedom Plan. Freedom Law School will prevent the IRS from labeling your money, or Freedom Law School will reimburse you. And you will definitely not go to prison relying on government's official legal websites. I mean, pay all the attorneys. You get unlimited consultation, unlimited help. There's no risk on you at all. It's all on us. And lastly, folks, I invite you, my friends, to become a modern day Paul Revere, yes, and tell others about us. Spread the word, okay? Freedom Law School is there, but you're the one that got to empower the American people with the truth and the law and restore freedom for American people, families. So tell other people about Freedom Law School, and we want to pay you and thank you for texting your friends our website, emailing them, on social media, give them our brochures, hand out to people, so that America can be a free country once again. With that, people, I want you to know this. I love every one of you. I really want you to be free. I just want to have fun, be like a kid, and we all have fun playing out their joy, happiness, and prosperity. But how can we have that when Americans are made poor by paying a good chunk of the money through deception to that crooked empire in Washington, D.C.? 3 out of 5 Americans are in debt to their credit cards, paying over 20% interest, slavery, tax to the international banksters, credit card companies. Folks, it's wrong. We need to stop it. And you can be key in stopping all this hurting of the American people that they're doing. So please, take the time on the drive to and from work, washing dishes, doing errands, listen to our videos as you drive safely, look at the road, drive safely. When you get home at dinner or work lunch, watch our videos and listen at the same time and empower yourself to be free and share it with others. Have your family and you be free and prosperous with joy, love, and happiness, and so can America. Thank you. Go to freedomlawschool.org to continue your road to freedom now.